Hello and welcome to the second tutorial of this mini-series we're doing on how to create a website using Elementor and WordPress. I'm Adi Pordillo, and in part 1 I walked you through the technical setup of getting your website up and running, and I also showed you the basic operations within Elementor. Just as a quick refresh, Elementor is a page builder WordPress plugin that allows you to define layouts, add elements, and use various templates to create any kind of website. Now, in this tutorial, we'll be customizing our website by changing colors, typography, and layout. And then we'll apply some finishing touches like uploading our logo, creating a menu, and more. So without further ado, let's begin. I'm going to start by showing you how to customize the colors for your website. So to do that, I'll open up a page within Elementor, the home page, for example, and I'm going to create a new section, just a demo, to show you how this works. So I'm going to select two columns, and let's add some widgets. Let's say an animated headline, and here let's add a button. Okay, these don't really have anything to do with the home page itself. I just want to show you how to edit the colors, typography, and stuff, and this applies to the widgets that are provided by Elementor, or the widgets that are compatible with Elementor. So first of all, to open up the colors, you would go to the menu, select default colors. By default, you see the currently applied color palette, and at the bottom you'll see a list of other color palettes that are available. So if I want to use this pastel, I can simply click here and you'll see the changes being reflected in real time. And now my pastel color palette is applied, and the elements that are using these colors get updated automatically. Let's try another one. Very, very simple. Now let's go ahead and publish our page, and this will save the changes as well. And now I'm going to show you how to edit the colors on a widget level. So these are global, right? They apply to all the widgets that you're currently using, but you can also override these global styles by styling widgets independently. So the way to do that is to simply click on a widget, let's say this button. I'm going to hit the edit button. So with the button selected, you would go to style, and going to background color, let's change this to a green. And I'm going to hit update. So now if I go back to the default colors, and I'm going to choose a different color scheme, for example this, you'll see that only the widget that I didn't edit is receiving the new changes. The one that I did edit stays the same. It uses the same color that I chose. If at any point you want to go back to supporting the default colors, simply edit that, go back to style, background color, and choose clear, and then hit update. And now changing the default colors will apply the changes again to that element. And by the way, when choosing a new color scheme, you can also hit the apply button right here on the top. Now, what about the fonts? Well, just like you can customize the default colors, you can also customize the default fonts. You need to go to the menu, default fonts, and you have a couple of options here: primary headline, secondary headline, body text, and accent text. So for example, let's change the primary headline. By default it's Roboto, but I can choose another one, let's say for example Ribeye. I can also change the font weight by using this drop down. So if the font family supports the different weights, you'll see those changes reflected right here. And this works exactly the same as colors. You can override these default fonts on a widget level. So for example, if I were to create another button in here, And I'm going to edit the typography for this to be a different font family. Let's say, for example, Times New Roman, and I'm going to hit update. Going back to the default fonts and changing the accent text to something else, let's say Righteous, will only change the typography for the elements that use these global default fonts. The one that I edited here stays unchanged. So as you can see, it works exactly the same as colors. All right, now let's go ahead and edit all of our pages so they're ready for publishing. These are going to be minor changes, but hopefully they will give you an idea of how to work with Elementor. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to remove this section because this was just for demo. I'm going to hit update, and then I'm going to go back to my WordPress dashboard. Let's preview our home page. We still have this header, default header from our 2017 theme, and we don't want that. So to get rid of it, we'll go back to our backend, and with the homepage selected, we'll change the template from Elementor Full Width to Elementor Canvas, and we'll hit update. And this will basically get rid of that template. Let's do the same for the rest of the pages. So About, Elementor Canvas, and we'll also publish it. Contact, we'll do exactly the same thing. And finally, our menu page, Elementor Canvas, and then publish. Now, let's edit the home page. I'm going to hit Edit with Elementor, and here I can see a preview. The thing that I'm going to change to the home page is I want a fourth column on my menu here, and I want it to be exactly the same as these in the sense that they have the same structure with the same animation on hover, but I want to change the content. So how do I do that? Well, let's go back here, scroll down to our menu, and we can either create this from scratch by right-clicking here and selecting Add New Column, or we can duplicate an existing column. And this will also duplicate the content inside. So this right here is actually a pro widget from Elementor called Flipbox. And we can change the content in here, like the icon, the way the icon is viewed. Let's select Stacked here. And also I can change the shape, but I'm going to stick with circle. I can change its title, and I'm going to change the description to Fresh and Delicious. I can also change the background. Let's delete this image. Let's add a new one from our media library. Let's select this one, for example. And I can also change the background overlay. Let's say I want something like this, a blue. Okay, so I'm going to hit update. And now, because I edit the front, I also need to edit the back. Okay, so we'll select the back option here. I can edit the text here as well. I can change the text of the button, for example, Buy Now. And I can also put a link. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the background as well. So select this color, and that should be it for now. Let's hit update. And now, if we refresh our page, we'll see our new element ready to go. It's that simple. Now, let's go to the menu page, and let's get a nice preview. You can also click this button to open up in the preview page. One thing that I don't necessarily like is how this text right here overlays my main title. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm going to select my title, and then I'll go to Advanced, and I'm going to reset my margin top to 0. And I'm going to hit Update. Okay, let's see what else. I think I want to change this image here or make it a bit more transparent because there isn't enough contrast between it and the text. So let's scroll down. Let's select this whole section by clicking this button. Now let's go to Style. The images here, I can change it if I want to. Let's say, I don't know, I want this one. So I'm going to hit Insert Media. And now, just by doing that, we have a much better contrast here, but I'm also going to change the opacity. So if I go to Background Overlay, I can see the color of the overlay here. I can edit its location, and I can also edit its opacity. Okay, so this is a gradient that's being applied. I can remove it completely by setting the opacity to 0, or if we want that vignette effect, we can keep it there. I can also apply a CSS filter to it if I want to, like a blur, brightness, contrast, saturation. Maybe I want to make this a bit more like monochrome. I can lower its saturation. I can also make it lighter or darker. And I think this should do just fine. So let's hit Update. And now let's see what we have. I think that's much better than before. Also, I want to remove these two items from the menu. So let's go ahead and do that. It's simply a matter of right-clicking each column and setting or selecting Delete, or since they are in their own section, I can simply delete the entire section, update, and be done with it. Cool. I think that's the only modification that I want to do to the menu page. Let's move on to the next one, which is About. I think I'm going to make the same change here on this animated headline. I want to push it down a little bit so it doesn't overlap with the text that should be on top of it. So let's select this, Advanced, and I can edit the margin top, or I can do a padding. Let's do a padding actually. Let's unlink these values, because if you link them together, if you change it in one place, it's going to change it everywhere. And I just want to add some padding top, just enough to push down the text, something like this. Let's hit Update. That's pretty cool. Let's see what else. Let's actually change the text here. Instead of About Us, we'll go to Content, and we'll say About Juice Bar. Let's assume that Juice Bar is the name of our business. Nice. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Let's say we want to change our schedule. That's really easy to do. Click the Edit button. This is an icon list, and the text should be, let's say, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Update. And let's say we want to add our website here. Okay, so the way to do that is we click Add Item. The text should be www.juicebar.com, obviously a fictional address. And I want to change the icon as well. Let's say one that uses a globe. And you can enter your link here. It's going to be www.juicebar.com. So let's hit Update. And now we have our website added to this list. Now let's move on to the final page, Contact. I'm going to do the same thing to our heading here, Advanced, and add a top padding of 70 pixels. And then I also want to edit this form, and this is it's a form widget. And let's say I want to add another drop down here for the seating, so the person can select an outdoor or an indoor seating. So I'm going to add another one here, Add Item, or we can simply duplicate this one. The type is going to be Select, label is going to be seating option, and for the option I'm going to say indoor table or outdoor table, and then I'm going to save. I can also edit the form by choosing to show or hide the labels. And I'm also going to show the required mark. So with those changes done, let's hit update and let's preview our changes. That was super simple. And that's how you can customize the various elements and layouts you create with Elementor. Obviously, when you're working on your own content, you would do much more customization than I did here. Since this is a demo, I'm just showing you the how. Okay. Now, let's add some finishing touches and explore some of the more advanced functionality of Elementor, like for example, Elementor blocks. Apart from the page templates that you saw me using here, Elementor also comes with something called blocks, which are individual blocks of content you can use, save as templates, and use across all pages. So let's go ahead and add a header and a footer to our website by using these blocks. Let's go to Pages, All Pages. Let's edit the home page. And I'm gonna create a new section on top of the very first one, and then click the folder icon. From here, I'm gonna select Blocks. Under Category, I'm gonna select Header. From here, I simply need to pick one that I like, and then hit Insert. So let's go with this very simple one. Hit Insert. And as you can see here, we now have two placeholders. One for the logo, one for the menu. We'll keep this in mind because we currently don't have a menu defined or a logo uploaded. Let's see about the footer, right? I'm gonna scroll all the way down here at the bottom, hit the folder icon, select Blocks. Under Category, let's search for Footer. And again, you would choose a footer that you like from this wide selection. In our case, let's keep things simple, and let's say this one, for example. So hit Insert. Okay, this is a placeholder for a menu, which will be populated once we create a menu in WordPress. This is a phone number, which you can edit anytime, a list of social media icons, and copyright information. So let's make some changes to these. First of all, starting with the header, I'm going to go to Layout. Under HTML tag, make sure Header is selected. And then you can choose to stretch the section. You can choose the content width, the column gaps. You can really customize this to your liking. Personally, I think this is just fine like this, so I'm going to hit Update. And I'm also going to right-click, Save as Template, and I'm going to say my website's header. So hit Save. And this will save it in your library under My Templates. Then you can reuse this in any of the other pages. Let's do the same for our footer. Right now it's using some different fonts. So let's go to the default fonts, and let's reset these to the default styling. So right here, I'm gonna edit my phone number, and I'm also going to edit this social icon list, and I'm gonna remove Pinterest. So hit Update, and now that I'm happy with the changes, again, I'm gonna right-click, Save as Template, my website's footer. Hit Save. So now let's go ahead and create a menu and upload our logo. To do that, I'm going to go back to my dashboard, Appearance, Menus. Let's start with this. Create a menu. Let's give it a name. Let's say Main Menu. Create. And let's select Menu, Contact, About, and Homepage. Add to Menu. Then I can simply reorder these in any way that I want. Save Menu. So now when I go back to Elementor, let's do a quick refresh here. You'll see that those placeholders you saw previously are now populated with the menu that we just created, both in the header and also in the footer. Pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and add a logo. For that, go to Appearance, Customize, Site Identity. Under Logo, select Logo. And from the media library, let's go ahead and upload the logo from our hard drive. I'm simply going to upload the logo that I have laying around here and hit Select. And it's asking me to crop the image. Let's do this. You can also just use the entire image, but let's keep things a bit simpler. Crop. And hit Publish. So now if we go back to Elementor, you'll see that this placeholder will be replaced by our logo. There we go. Now obviously you would upload a logo that has an appropriate size for your website. And now if I want to add these elements, these headers and footers to the other pages, I can simply go to the other pages, for example, About, Edit with Elementor, and I'm going to repeat the same process. Create a new section, hit the folder icon, but this time I'm going to choose from My Templates, My Website Header. Insert, yes, and it inserts the header that I created previously. And let's do the same for the footer. My Templates, My Website Footer, insert, yes, and now I have a footer. So I'm going to hit Update, and let's go back to the dashboard because it apparently switched back to the default template. Let's switch back to Canvas, Update, and when we preview, we'll have an About page that uses the same building blocks that we used on the home page, the header and the footer. And that concludes this mini tutorial series. I hope it gave you a good understanding of what you can do with WordPress and Elementor. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section down below. I want to thank you very much for watching these tutorials. I'm Adi Pordila, and until next time, take care.